What up, Hyperchange? Today we're doing an update on HyperGuap, my investment syndicate, which a bunch of you who are accredited are a part of. This is something I launched about 6 months ago with my video. I've been dabbling in the startup angel investing world, have been getting a ton of requests from my followers about, can we invest in the companies you're investing in? I want to be involved too. And, I listen. I was like, okay, how do I do this? I'm writing all these startup checks. Should I launch a rolling fund? Should I do my own VC fund? Should I do, this private network of angel investors who can piggyback on any check I write? And it turned out to be the third option, a private syndicate of investors. I wish the law let me get everybody in the world to join this group and everybody could share my deal flow, but fortunately that's not the case. It's just you have to be an accredited investor and you have to be based in the US, and I'm trying to expand it internationally, but that's the best I can do for now. But we've established this collective, and since I launched it 6 months ago, we've had over 650 accredited investors join. We still have a ton of applications. I would say we're probably one of the fastest growing angel groups in the world. I mean, I haven't done any marketing besides my video 6 months ago, and we were already up to hundreds and hundreds of users. And the reason why I'm making this video now is because we actually completed our first deal, so I'm technically legally allowed to talk about it. And I wanted to fill y'all in and just document my journey, because I feel like, I've been hearing so much about VCs this, and like, I'm just so pumped about what HyperGuap is building and the vision that's sort of coming to place there. Yeah, and so the first deal we did, I'll just get right to it, is Carta. So Carta is a financial technology company based in San Francisco, started by Henry Ward. I've covered them on the channel extensively for years and years, have been following this company, watched them grow from E-shares, change the name into Carta, and become this behemoth in the US venture space. And why I love Carta and think they're an amazingly rapidly growing disruptive technology company even goes beyond the fact that, I use Carta on Hyperchange. I built a startup portfolio on Carta. I've been using this product for 2 years, but it's not even just about that. It's about this vision to create more owners. I think Carta seems like this boring back-end office sort of business, but could be scratching the surface on one of the most exciting transformations of capital and financial markets in the 21st century, and that is unlocking the treasure trove that is on every single private company's cap table that is not liquid. Why can you buy, Apple, Tesla stock for free in slices on any dozen apps in 2 seconds, but for you to invest in a private company, you need to do all this paperwork, sign all these documents, get lawyers involved. It's a mess. Carta came in to change that, to basically make a ledger so they could digitally transact, share documents, and make it easy to eventually trade them. And that's why what we participated in was so exciting, because we didn't just invest in Carta. The layers of how meta this is like 6, so I hope y'all can keep with me. But we didn't just invest in Carta, we invested in this first platform transaction on Carta X. So Carta X, they did Carta's been building this business where they do cap table management for companies. And now the true vision of it is, okay, not just organizing your books and who owns your stock and how many options they have and keeping a record of that for private companies, but now let's have those trillions of dollars of asset, or $1 trillion plus in equity assets, from 18,000 plus customers on the Carta platform. Let's let people buy and sell that equity. And so that is what they've been building on the back end. That is what Carta X is. And their first transaction for that was in January 2021. That is what HyperGuap participated in. So that was so cool, because, to explain to you why Carta X is such a big deal, Mark Andreessen, who's on the board of Carta, put out this blog post after the Carta X transaction came out, and I think he breaks it down better than I ever could. He says, "For more than 100 years, companies have existed in a binary world, either private or public. Private companies have been highly restricted in how they can raise money, sell stock, provide employee liquidity, and otherwise manage their ownership. Public companies have been highly exposed, subject to intense daily and even hourly scrutiny, with rapidly fluctuating stock prices and enormous external pressure that risks compromising a focus on innovation. Tesla, we all know that too well. CEOs, investors, and employees have long felt that a superior third configuration must exist, particularly for growth stage companies that are not yet ready to be fully public because they're still investing in aggressive growth. But that third configuration hasn't existed until this week. Now it does, thanks to the Carta X private exchange. Last night, our portfolio company Carta completed the first auction of its own. Their 414 market participants bought private Carta stock across 1,484 executed orders, totaling 99.7 million in trading volume. We, HyperGuap, participated. We were one of the 414. We were part of the 99.7, so epic. I guess that counts as a shout out from Mark Andreessen, right? Like, no. Okay, Carta X enabled Carta to unlock meaningfully more demand for its stock and engage in market-driven price discovery long before it would have otherwise raised new private capital or conducted an IPO to go public. This successful auction, with Carta eating its own dog food by transacting its own stock, shows that the Carta X system is now ready for general use by private growth companies that want the benefits of a true exchange prior to or as an alternative to going public. We think the existence of this system is a positive for all constituents in the startup ecosystem, the companies themselves, their employees, their existing investors, the new investors who get the opportunity to buy their stock. We are proud to have led Carta's Series E nearly 2 years ago, and motivated by this vision and plan, we will now recommend this approach to our portfolio companies when they reach the stage where this approach is suitable for them. We will also be a buyer ourselves of private stock via the Carta X exchange, and we suggest that companies and investors throughout the tech industry consider Carta X as well, the third configuration beyond the false binary of simply private or public is here. So, I mean, man, I'm just getting hyped up and inspired here. But, invest in the future you believe in. That's my mantra for HyperGuap. That's my mantra for everything. And it's actually such a dope mantra that there's other angel investing groups who, since I made it my mantra, this one called Republic, that copied it, invest in the future you believe in, which whatever, they can copy it. But and Carta, to me, is building this equitable future. Create more owners. Let's let everybody own a piece of companies. Let's let it transact in a liquid way. And I know it sounds boring and it seems like on the back end, but this is such an unlock of so much value. Why did every Uber and Lyft driver make nothing on the company while the executives make everything? Why has that been the blueprint for every single IPO for decades? Why does the public never get to invest in the innovation and products or services that they are customers of from day one that they support? Why? That's some bullshit. And I think it's widening the wealth gap, and I think it's ridiculous that frankly even HyperGuap exists. The fact that I have to create a network of private angel investors to invest in startups that's behind closed doors that I'm not allowed to talk about until the deal closes is fucking bullshit. I'm the first to say it. I hope HyperGuap goes out of business because Carta X takes off or something like it takes off and there is true liquidity. You should, with the click of a button, there should be an auction-based system to buy into any company. This is true liquidity. That company should be able to dictate the terms, who they want, the round, when there's liquidity, how much information they disclose. I mean, the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange was invented so long ago. SEC, everything needs to change. The entire way the GameStop situation worked, where there was naked short selling. You can short a stock you don't even have. That's because it takes 3 days to settle a paper stock certificate. Nobody even knows who has what shares. Carta could solve that too. So I look at the entire back-end infrastructure of our financial system. I say it sucks. It needs to be outdated. Software is eating the world. It's time software ate the stock exchange. And it's going to start with private markets, which has the biggest need. But eventually, I just think this is hitting such a big problem and just such, you can tell how excited I'm getting because I think this Carta X transaction, we were a part of history. And that's what makes me excited, investing in things that are going to change the world, that could actually make it better. And I feel like Carta was just so meta. And not only did we invest in Carta and participate on this first Carta X transaction, but we also formed our SPV on Carta. So I ran the whole auction on Carta. Carta's eating their own dog food by listing their own stock on their own exchange first. I feel like I was eating the Carta dog food too by running it. And I have so many shout outs to give for the Carta. I just loved working with Carta and have been working with them on HyperGuap and just to set up our SPVs. When I have, and so for example, this Carta deal, we had out of my 500 plus people at the time, 75 of you invested. I mean, that's insane. And the minimum was 100,000. I've been trying to drop that for future deals, but that's just the way the economics work. I'm not allowed to technically say how many millions we raised from those 75 LPs, but I can say I had targeted a few million and we crushed my target. So I'm super proud of you. And we ran the whole deal on Carta. It was, compared to other private market deals, incredibly smooth, incredibly easy. Also, because I feel like I have the world's best LPs, I'm not gonna lie. I wanna give a shout out to all the people in HyperGuap because y'all are amazing. You were so professional. You wired the money right away. Your communication's awesome. You're friendly, you're upbeat, you're professional. You're making it easy for me, understanding that I'm running a startup, HyperGuap. So, it's my first time, and just, I don't know. I felt really blessed that I had awesome LPs. I just want to say thank y'all. So the way HyperGuap works, for those who don't know, I combine these 75 people's money, put it into one account, and so now all of a sudden, I'm a big time VC firm. And this is why I'm so excited about HyperGuap, because to me, this first deal proved the model. All of a sudden, we can go to the table and say, guess what? This isn't some random VC fund with anonymous capital wants to give you money. This is 75 people who love your product, who get the vision, who want to buy in, who are willing to hold longer term, who actually picked your company to invest in, who are going to become evangelists for your product, for your service. And so to me, this is an incredible alternative for venture capital. And, it's not an alternative if it's just Galley writing a $5,000 check, but if it's Galley coming in with millions of dollars of strategic capital that's more transparent, that can be wired quickly for less work, then all of a sudden we are competing with real VCs. And so that's why this deal, and to me, this is just the start of HyperGuap. And the way we move so much money so quickly, and it's so, I don't want to say easily because it was a shitload of work for me. And I feel like it suffered hyperchange, and it suffered, my personal relationship suffered because I was trying to close my first Mega Million VC deal. It just wasn't easy. And there was a lot of learning curves for that, but I'm so excited. And I want to give a huge shout out to Aiden, who you saw on the channel. He's kind of joining HyperGuap as biz dev. And so he's basically, I can't do the day-to-day of HyperGuap. I got to do hyperchange. I got a gazillion things I'm doing. I want to bring content to y'all, put my heart and soul into that content. And so that means I can't be as hands-on with the VC business. So just having help there is incredible. And so HyperGuap is expanding itself, getting ready for phase 2.0. And so, yeah, I'm just so excited and kind of want to make this video to update y'all and talk about how, I'm still working on this constantly. I do wish that I could get everybody who's non-accredited into HyperGuap. I think the fact that legislation exists to create this sort of gap is super messed up, and I really want to change it and not be part of the problem. And so that's something I think about constantly, and investing in a company like Carta, who eventually could unlock this whole system, and change, the lobbying. I think there's a lot of moves to be made to help the government understand the problems of these laws and how there's a huge opportunity for the US financial system to unlock private market transactions by getting rid of this accredited investor rule. That's something I'm really passionate about and want to keep sort of, spreading the word about and advancing the conversation of. So, yeah, and I also wanted to say, startups, hit me up. Actually, as much as, HyperGuap, I get dozens of startup deals. I'm constantly looking at stuff. I'm extremely picky with the deals we're going to do into HyperGuap, but I still want to see what you got, and I'd love for startups to hit me up. I think, it takes less time to work with HyperGuap. It's more fun. You get better investors who are willing to pay a better price, and we don't do the same terms of venture. It's not like I need to own this much of your company. It's not like I want this. We're really partners for the company, and I can tailor every round and every deal to what the company wants. Do you want big checks? Do you want to move as much money as possible? Do you want really small checks from really strategic people? Do you want super long-term? Do you want, it just, whatever the founder works. And so meeting with dozens of founders to talk about this and work on this and just hear their ideas has been so inspiring, and has got me to thinking that we're onto something new, and that this business model of me writing a check and say, I'm going to be the first money in, if my subscribers want to write the same check at the same terms to back this company that they think is building a dope future, let's fucking do it. It's called HyperGuap. So I just think this is so exciting. Yeah, so anyway, this is my update on HyperGuap. We closed our first deal. We're moving forward. You can join if you want, and you're an accredited investor. You can join hyperguap.com. I'm looking actively into international expansion because I know that's what y'all been requesting. So I totally hear y'all on that. And I feel like I've been learning so much through HyperGuap, just how to structure deals, how to meet with founders. And I know in some ways it takes away from my time of being able to say everything on the channel because all these meetings are confidential. But in the same way, I know that I'm planting seeds for incredible content and incredible thoughts and schemes down the road. So that's making me really, really excited about, to bring you along with HyperChange and to talk about the most exciting companies in the world and the coolest stuff happening in the world. You need to be interfacing with those companies, and being a huge VC moving millions means I'm looked at a little bit different versus a YouTuber. And all of a sudden we're getting, just the ability to be in the room with these management teams, to be a strategic advisor to these startups is just so exciting and awesome. And I just can't wait to sort of bring y'all along for that ride. And I feel like I've been getting a masterclass in startup investing. Everybody in HyperGuap who's been doing deals with me is getting a masterclass in how this all works by joining it, by going to the, for every deal I do, I have a little video. We all hang out on Zoom. I tell y'all why I'm writing the check and let people ask questions. Those have been so fun. And I feel like I've been learning a ton about it. So I'm just really appreciative of the whole process and want to try and bring y'all along as much as I can. Huge shout out to Carta. Such a big fan of what they're doing and what they're up to. And I think Carta X, I can't wait to see how this all unfolds and what happens from here. Anyway, this is HyperChange. See y'all next time. Peace.